Medieval India, chapter number 14, page number 175. The conquest of Berar, Ahmednagar, and Khandesh. Akbar claimed suzerainty over the entire country. He was therefore keen that, like Rajputs, the rulers of the Deccani states should acknowledge his suzerainty. Embassies sent by him earlier suggesting that the Deccani states recognize his power and be friends with him did not, however, produce any positive results. It was obvious that the Deccani states would not accept Mughal suzerainty till the Mughals were in a position to exert military pressure on them. In 1591, Akbar launched a diplomatic offensive. He sent embassies to all Deccani states inviting them to accept Mughal suzerainty. As might have been expected, none of the states accepted this offer. The only exception being Khandesh, which was too near and exposed to the Mughals to resist. Burhan, the ruler of Ahmednagar, was rude to Mughal envoy. The others only made promises of friendship. It seemed that Akbar was on the verge of making a definite move in the Deccan. The necessary opportunity was provided to him when factional fighting broke out among the Nizam Shahi nobles following the death of Burhan in 1595. There were four candidates for the throne, backed by different parties. The strongest claim was that of Bahadur, son of deceased ruler Ibrahim Adil Shah II. Ibrahim Adil Shah II, the ruler of Bijapur, was inclined to support his claim. Chand Bibi, who was the sister of Burhan, was the widow of the former ruler of Bijapur, who was Ibrahim's uncle. She was a remarkable woman and had virtually ruled Bijapur for almost 10 years when Ibrahim Adil Shah was a minor. She had gone to Ahmednagar to condole but stayed there to take up with vigor the cause of her nephew. It was against this background that the leaders of the rival party, the Deccanis, invited the Mughals to intervene. The struggle which now began was really a struggle between Bijapur and the Mughals for the domination of Ahmednagar state. The Mughal invasion was led by Prince Murad, who was the governor of Gujarat, and by Abdur Rahim Khan e Khanan. The ruler of Khandesh was asked to cooperate. Due to factional fights among the Ahmednagar nobles, the Mughals encountered little opposition till they reached the capital Ahmednagar. Chand Bibi shut herself up in the fort with the boy King Bahadur. After a close siege of 4 months, in which Chand Bibi played a valiant role, the two sides came to an agreement. It was agreed to cede Berar to Mughals in return for their recognition of the claim of Bahadur. Mughal suzerainty was also recognized. This was in 1596. The Mughal annexation of Berar alarmed the Deccani states. They felt, not without reason, that Berar would give Mughals a permanent foothold in the Deccan which could be enlarged upon at any time. Hence, they sided with Ahmednagar and created obstacles in the Mughals taking possession of Berar. Soon a combined force of Bijapur, Golconda and Ahmednagar led by a Bijapur commander invaded Berar in strength. In a hard fought battle in 1597, the Mughals defeated the Deccani force of 3 times their number. The Bijapur and Golconda forces now withdrew, leaving Chand Bibi alone to meet the situation. Although Chand Bibi was in favor of observing the Treaty of 1596, she could not stop the harassing attacks on the Mughals in Berar by her nobles. This resulted in a second Mughal siege of Ahmednagar. In the absence of any help from any quarter, Chand Bibi opened negotiations with the Mughals. She was, however, accused of treachery by a hostile faction and murdered. Thus ended the life of one of the most romantic figures in Deccani politics. The Mughals now assaulted and captured Ahmednagar. The boy King Bahadur was sent to the fortress Gwalior. Balaghat too was added to the empire, and a Mughal garrison was stationed at Ahmednagar. This was in 1600. The fall of Ahmednagar and the capture of Bahadur Nizam Shah did not solve Akbar's problems in the Deccan. There were now no Nizam Shahi prince or noble with sufficient standing to negotiate with. At the same time, the Mughals were not inclined to advance beyond Ahmednagar or try to siege all the remaining territories of the state. The situation became further confused due to the constant wrangling among the Mughal commanders. To study the situation on the spot, Akbar advanced into Malwa and then into Khandesh. There he learned that the new ruler of Khandesh had not shown due respect to Prince Danial, which when he had passed through his territory on his way to Ahmednagar. Akbar was also keen to secure the fort of Asirgarh in Khandesh, which was reputed to be the strongest fort in the Deccan. After a tight siege, and when a pestilence had broken out, the ruler came out and surrendered. 1601. Khandesh was incorporated in the Mughal Empire. Meanwhile, Prince Danial, the youngest son of Akbar, who had been placed in command of Mughal armies in the Deccan, concluded a peace with Murtaza Nizam Shah, who had been proclaimed ruler after the fall of Ahmednagar by a group of Nizam Shahi nobles. According to the agreement, Ahmednagar, Balaghat, and parts of Telangana were surrendered to the Mughals, and the remaining portion of the kingdom confirmed to Murtaza Nizam Shah on condition of loyalty and that he would never rebel. This was in 1601. After the capture of Asirgarh, Akbar returned to the north to deal with the rebellion of his son, Salim. Although the conquest of Khandesh, Berad, and Balaghat, the Mughal control over the fort of Ahmednagar were substantial achievements, the Mughals had yet to consolidate their position. Akbar was conscious that no lasting solution to the Deccan problem could be arrived at without an agreement with Bijapur. He had therefore sent messages of assurance to Ibrahim Adil Shah II, who offered to marry his daughter to Prince Danial. But soon after the marriage, 1602, the prince died of excessive drinking. Thus, the situation in the Deccan remained nebulous and had to be tackled by Akbar's successor, Jahangir. Thank you everyone for tuning in. In the next part, we'll start with rise of Malik Ambar and frustration of Mughal attempt at consolidation on page number 177. Thank you for tuning in. All the best for exams. Do share and subscribe and keep supporting us. Thank you. All the best.